Last year, we saw a shift in the country's political landscape. The ANC failed to win an outright majority in the 2021 local government elections. The party slipped to an unprecedented 45.06 in the polls. A voter turnout was the main factor that contributed to the poll numbers. Unemployment, a lack of service delivery, and corruption are some of the issues that we can expect to be addressed by President Cyril Ramaphosa tonight at 7 p.m. when he delivers the State of the Nation address. Let's speak now to political analyst Sanusha Naidu. She joins us via Zoom. We're also joined by the chief advisor at Ntiyiso Consulting, Miyelani Holeni. A very good morning to both of you, and thanks for making the time.
Good morning, Desiree.
Sanusha, let's start with you. We were talking to Azaj earlier. He was saying that the president downplays the effects of the factionalism in the ANC in carrying out the work of government and, by implication, his ability to deliver on his promises. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I think the president is very much a president that's loyalist to the struggle. He's very much about the party. The party is an important entity in the way he conceptualizes, conceives, and operationalizes the way forward. I mean, you picked this up very much in the Zondo Commission when he appeared last year, in terms of making promises around defining how to get the party much more cohesive, but didn't come very close to saying that cadre deployment is actually an impediment to some of these operational structures and operationalization of issues where there's no kind of filter between state and party and state. And I think the challenge as well is that how does that seepage from the party in terms of trying to make it much more seem as if it's an ability or an opportunity for renewal? How does that then engage in the bureaucracy of the state? Because one of the things that came out of the presidency not so long ago was the fact that on prosecutions, it seems as if there's a procrastination because there's not a fast turnaround time in the bureaucracy of the state. But then, of course, we know that these are challenges. These are serious challenges, looking at what both the reports from the State of Capture inquiry had shown in terms of what's happening as these linkages and seepage and the kind of spillover effects you have that go in there. So I think, if you're going to sort out the party, then you're also going to sort out the state. And this is where I think the bottlenecks and the bureaucratic issues come to fold. Because at the end of the day, if you have people in your bureaucracy that necessarily don't want to go forward, or they are stuck in a bureaucratic kind of engagement or political game, it doesn't mean that your state is governing effectively, efficiency, and it's not governing in the way that you want it to govern. So if you just look at some of the promises the president made or outlined in his 2021 State of the Nation address around the infrastructure bill, or how much of infrastructure financing will be needed in order to improve and deepen the infrastructure, it hasn't happened. I think it was over 340 billion rand. Now it's gone up to, I could be wrong, but it's gone up to about over 500. So I think the problem here again is we've got a lot that's happening on paper, but the real issue is nothing is happening in practice on the ground. Yes, you got one or two interesting dynamics around, say, job opportunities, but I'm still very, very confused about what is a job opportunity versus an actual job.
Miyelani Holeni, just a scan of the 2021 State of the Nation address, a very promise-heavy address by the president last year. How far are we in terms of delivery?
Yeah, I think based on and following even the previous State of the Nation addresses, we are continuously falling short of the promises and not seeing the reality of what the president has spoken about. Firstly, I think the issue of jobs is a glaring one. Unemployment has increased and it sits at about 34.4%. If we now look at where the state of electricity supply sits, it's constrained, highly constrained for that matter. We're back to load shedding days. We had also promises around structural reforms for the economy, which also there is not a deadline or at least a date in sight of when that is going to commence. Fourthly, we go into the issue of the fact that there are projects which Sanusha has also mentioned, that have been promised. We know that the investment conferences that have been held, and we also see that the infrastructure conferences that have also been held, we are seeing only less than 10% of the projects which are being spoken about that are being implemented currently. The rest are still either in pre-feasibility or feasibility stage. So we're not seeing the jumpstart to the economy that is required at this stage.
Of course, we'll continue a conversation with our analysts.